Hello, my name is Nathaniel Komasinski, and today I will be talking about a clinical case study dealing with the bowel obstruction, and it begins with the patient LC, who is an English archaeologist slash treasure hunter who was overseas, and she came back and she was experiencing some nausea, poor appetite leading to her weight loss of 16 pounds, uh, epilepsy, and those symptoms. And then she was diagnosed. She was admitted to the hospital and diagnosed with Hantavirus. All right. No more. All right. Hello, this is Nathaniel Komasinski, and today I will be talking about a clinical case study presentation dealing with the bowel obstructions and what are the aftermaths of it. Now, the patient's name is LC, and she is an English archaeologist slash treasure hunter who has spent the last year searching for lost caves in Mexico. And she is a 32-year-old female who is super active and also vegan. She actually has a private chef that assists her with that. Her weight is 175 centimeters, and she was admitted to the hospital with a weight of 3.2 kilograms. Her BMI shows that she's extremely underweight with 17.4. And she was diagnosed with Hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, valley fever, small bowel obstruction, second to esophagosis. The history of present illness is that she has a past history of Crohn's disease, acute pancreatitis, she's diabetic, she has the deficiency of both vitamin D and B12, and she has a pelvic fracture. And that led to 3 months ago, she developed illness of abdominal distension, poor appetite leading to the weight loss, nausea, epigastric pain, and now onset vomiting. 5 days ago, she started to develop a headache, cough, fever, diarrhea, and a rash on her legs. Now, the first diagnosis was the disease Hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, and that's a respiratory disease caused by the infection with Hantavirus. This disease is not common, but when it is obtained, it can be vital. And you obtain this by breathing in the same air as these rodents, and the early symptoms are fever, headache, muscle ache, and then which leads to later symptoms of the lungs actually filled with fluid, making it hard to breathe. This disease main organs that it affects are the lungs, the kidneys, and the heart, and it can't be treated. Valley fever was another one she was diagnosed with, and it's a fungal infection caused by coccidioids, and you get it by breathing in them, so this mainly affects the lungs, and the symptoms are very, very rare, but when you do get the symptoms that occur are fatigue, cough, fever, shortness of breath, headache, night sweats, muscle aches, and this is treated with antifungal medication. The small bowel obstruction is when the small intestines and the large intestines actually block that digestive tract, blocking the passageway for essential nutrients being able to absorb. The main cause of this are the roundworms, are called ascarosis, and they are swallowed. You swallow their eggs, and that's when they grow in the small intestines, leading to a bowel obstruction. The symptoms that you would feel would be severe abdominal pain, nausea, vomiting, restlessness, trouble sleeping, and growth problems from children. The medications that treat this are shown, and are treated surgically when the worms are too big. And the major organs that are affected by this are the small intestines and large intestines. She had a secondary diagnosis of profound protein-calorie malnutrition, and this was mainly due to the worm being in her small intestines, blocking it from being able to absorb the proper nutrients. Medical tests that were done were X-ray, CAT scans, and abdominal ultrasounds, and this was able to detect the worm, and also seeing how much damage was to the walls of the duodenum and the jejunum. She had surgical procedures, was the explanatory laparoscopy, and that is when they physically saw the worm, and then they removed all of her duodenum and the top portion of her jejunum. The hospital course was she was admitted with the cough, diarrhea, night sweats, and the rash on her legs, which developed into hypotension and pulmonary edema, making her have to be put on a vent and placed in the ICU. Negastric tube was also she was placed on, and for decompression, and a central line was placed in her. That led to the day of her getting all those CAT scans, the tests done, and the surgical procedures were done. Post-operative day 4, she was able to take out the NG tube and the TPN tube, and then a PEG tube was then placed in. And the post-operative day following, she was able to treat the rash by flamazoid, but she also developed peptidea, pulposocin, and hentia. And she was diagnosed with distinct coagulation, DIC. And she developed stage 3 ulcer on her coccyx. The next following days, the speech cleared her for no dysphagia, and the PEG tube was removed. She was released from the hospital after 30 days, and she will come back for a bowel transplant. The nutrition care process was also done, and it showed that she is extremely underweight, that she treats her vitamin D and vitamin B12 deficiency with supplements. She treats her type 1 diabetes with an insulin pump. She's vegan, and she has a chef that makes sure that she stays on that vegan diet. The history is that she doesn't smoke, she doesn't drink, and she has insomnia. She got her PhD in archaeology from Oxford. She's single and extremely active. Some abnormal labs that stood out were the labs that were super high, like the potassium chloride, creatinine. Those were super high, and then the low ones were like hemoglobin, carbon dioxide, and red blood cell count, and her vitamin D. The PES statement is inadequate protein and energy intake, determined by the malnutrition, low albumin, and the roundworm, as evidenced by the development of stage 3 ulcer on her pressure ulcer on her coccyx. The intervention that was done, recommendation, is the Jevity formula, and to increase her protein intake, also increasing the nutrients that will not be absorbed by the surgeries that were done, because the duodenum absorbs so much, like the calcium, phosphate, magnesium, iron, copper, selenium, thiamine, all that. And the top portion actually absorbs a good amount of lipids, amino acids. So those surgeries will did some damage as well. And that is it for the presentation, and I hope you enjoyed it.